With beautiful freshwater lakes, a diverse coastline, and multiple islands, Whatcom County has a wealth of waterfront living options. From gorgeous view properties on Chuckanut Cliffs, to lakefront living on Samish, to saltwater homes out at Neptune Beach. Welcome to my Waterfront Living series, where we're exploring everything from what local marinas offer to the nuanced considerations you should keep in mind when buying a home on the water. Let's get started. Lake Whatcom is the largest lake in Whatcom County, spanning about 5,000 acres. The northernmost basin is the most populated, and part of it is within city limits. It's the source of drinking water for approximately half of the county, and a popular spot for summer recreation. Housing turnover along the lakeline is low. Recently, only about 20 to 25 homes sell along the lakeline each year. And in the last 5 years, Lake Whatcom home sales have made up between 2.5 to 6% of the single-family home sales in all of Bellingham. Lake Samish is about 6 miles south of Bellingham, located in the Chuckanut Mountains. It's about 16% the size of Lake Whatcom. Fewer than a dozen homes sell on the lake each year, and sometimes it's as few as 2 or 4. Now, not all lakefront property is the same. In this series, we'll get into some of the things that you as a prospective buyer should consider when choosing your dream lakefront home. First up, daylight. Here in the rainy Pacific Northwest, daylight is at a premium for many months of the year. So people should consider things like tree cover and the foothills surrounding our lakes. Bellingham summers tend to be warmer and brighter in the late afternoon and evening, so east-facing houses in certain lakefront neighborhoods could miss out on those extended golden hours. Secondly, privacy. Generally speaking, the easier access you have to Bellingham, the closer you'll be to your neighbors. The first basin of Lake Whatcom is densely populated, while the middle has more narrow and winding roads, but this is also where you'll find some larger lots. It's rare to find property with a private boat launch, so new homeowners should be aware that you'll be launching from Blowdale Donovan Park, Sudden Valley, or the public launch at Lake Samish. Annual permits and aquatic invasive species inspections are required for both motorized and non-motorized boats. Many properties have existing docks, but major repairs or new construction can be difficult to achieve in our area. They require environmental review permits from the governing planning department to ensure compliance with the Shoreline Management Act along with city and county code. And I can always recommend local dock builders or land use consultants so that my clients fully understand the ramifications of a desired project ahead of making an offer or before closing on a property. Two-stroke outboard motors are prohibited on both Lake Whatcom and Lake Samish because they are both lakes that are drinking water sources. However, inboard, outboard, direct drive, and 4-stroke outboard motors are allowed. The City of Bellingham has a digital handbook designed to help boat owners understand the rules and regulations. Neither Lake Whatcom nor Lake Samish have long-term storage facilities, with the exception of Sudden Valley for HOA residents. So, if you're looking for a place to winterize and store your boat, I have local businesses that I can recommend. There are 4 primary saltwater marinas available in Whatcom County. Squalicum Harbor homes more than 1,400 pleasure and commercial boats and provides a public boat launch, pump out and fuel docks, and recycling. From Squalicum Harbor, you are just minutes out to the San Juan Islands and the Gulf Islands. This harbor has the closest access for local Bellingham residents, but it's not your only option. Blaine Harbor is at the mouth of Drayton Harbor and offers more than 600 boat slips. These are protected by a heavy rock breakwater. There is a public boat launch, holding tank pump outs, and recycling. Semiyama Marina is across from Blaine Harbor, and the nearly 300 slips are primarily made up of individually owned slips. Their website includes a tide table and a live marina cam, so boat owners can get an idea of the weather prior to heading out. The smallest and my personal favorite of the local marinas is Sandy Point. With just over 100 slips, the marina is full at the time of this video, but there is an ongoing wait list. Buyers looking for a home in Sandy Point and boat owners should be aware that access to the Sandy Point Marina is through a very shallow canal. Boating trips need to be very strategically planned around the high tides if you're leaving from the marina or one of the many private docks. Speaking of private docks, Sandy Point is the prime location in Whatcom County and one of the only ones where you can have a private dock that abuts your property. Also, some of the best crabbing in the area is just outside Sandy Point Canal. During crabbing season every year, my husband and I love taking the boat out just outside the Sandy Point Canal, and that is where we have the most success with our pots. For any buyer looking to move to a waterfront home, you should be prepared to do some extra due diligence. First up, the watershed. Homeowners around any body of water should read up on living in a watershed. There are zoning restrictions around tree removal and annual closures on new permits and new construction. The City of Bellingham has an extensive guide that summarizes Lake Whatcom's watershed restrictions, along with recommendations on how homeowners can steward their properties responsibly. These watershed protections don't just include our local lakes, but also Birch Bay and Drayton Harbor. People might measure their lakefront yard a bit differently, and the results may be subjective. However, as a buyer, you can look at the Whatcom County property search page for the county's official effective frontage measurement. Generally speaking, in Washington state, tidelands are owned by the state up to the line of ordinary high tide. There may be exceptions for properties privately held before 1971. Tideland ownership must be expressly shown in the deed or chain of title. Shoreland is the space between where vegetation ends up to Washington state's determined line of navigability. Property ownership goes out to the vegetation line unless the deed says including shoreland, in which case ownership extends out to the line of navigability. Generally speaking, most lots along Lake Whatcom include the shoreland. This becomes especially relevant if you're hoping to build a new dock. The title company can check back in the chain of deeds for any questions on this specific topic. The Shoreline Management Program regulates development in shoreline ecosystems to manage impacts like erosion and flooding. The current code outlines specific areas like Lake Whatcom and Birch Bay as being shorelines of statewide significance. Development proposals in these areas may have to be reviewed by resource agencies like the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. A geotechnical engineer report could be part of your property research, especially looking at erosion and soil stability along one of our multiple bluffs, such as along Chuckanut Bay or along Point Whitehorn. Some areas of Whatcom County experience seasonal flooding, which varies year by year. Sandy Point is occasionally cut off from the mainland, and Birch Bay experiences high tides, high winds, and more. If you're financing your purchase, FEMA flood insurance will be required, especially in high-risk areas like zones VE and AE. And all homeowners near tidal or moving water should be aware that flood is not a covered risk in your home insurance policy. As a real estate broker and boat owner myself, I love all things waterfront here in Whatcom County, as well as educating and empowering my clients. I believe that we are so lucky to choose from multiple world-class views and lifestyles when considering the perfect place to call home.